Hey there, Trish Vander Mooren, High Desert Homes, California. I am your high desert ally, and today I want to talk about the pros and cons of living and buying in the high desert. So if that sounds really good to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and always send me comments on things you want to know about and talk about. We're going to start with the pros. Let's talk about affordability. That is probably the most important thing and what brings people here to the high desert. Just living in general, cost of living is a lot cheaper here in the high desert. When you look at like what you can buy for a brand new home versus, down in a major city, LA, Orange County, up here in the high desert, you can get that home and even a newer home for probably about 40 to 50% cheaper. So it's a huge savings when it comes to living here in the high desert. So affordability, cost of living, getting that amazing home that you really want. Another reason that brings people here that is amazing is our wide open spaces. We are in the Mojave Desert, endless sunsets, endless landscaping. It's just beautiful. When you talk about sunsets, they're absolutely magical here in the high desert. We have big open skies, and if you like to hike, be outside, this is the place for you for sure. It's absolutely gorgeous. So let's talk about outdoor activities. So Joshua Tree National Forest is in our backyard. So we've got wide open spaces. So if you're somebody who loves to get on your dirt bike, your quad, your 4x4, you can pretty much go do that just about anywhere, just get out and ride. So there's plenty of open spaces for that. If you're somebody who likes to hike, you can go up to Wrightwood and go hiking. There's 59 trails up there. Crestline's got trails as well. There's plenty of places to hike and enjoy the scenery. If you're somebody who likes to ski in the wintertime, you go up to Mountain High and you go skiing. They've got a great lounge up there, and during the Christmas time, which happens to be when I'm doing this video right now, there's Santa's Village as well. So lots of outdoor activities. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's lots of things to do up here. Another one of my favorites is just parks. We've got plenty of parks, but my favorite is Mojave Narrows. And why is that? So like in the summertime, I love to take my grandkids out there. They have this really big splash pad, and the kids just have a ball. There's also a big lake where you can go fishing if you like to fish. So there's just a lot of different areas. When you think about the high desert, again, wide open spaces, plenty of room to roam around. There's lots of things to do if you like to be outside. A lot of people say that when we are basically a big, small town, so it feels like a small town, but it's actually really large. So when I say that, what I mean is, think about a small town, you don't have a lot of stores, it's very limited, but because we're a big small town, we've got all the shopping you could possibly need. So you've got all your basic, Targets and all the things that you need on a normal basis, your grocery stores, your car dealerships, your car repair shops, all of that stuff, restaurants galore, all of that's here up on the hill. And there's also ways to, if you want to go to the bigger malls or the bigger shopping or specialty stores or different kind of stuff, that's just a trip down the hill. But up on the hill, you've got everything you need up here. And then if you're a traveler like I do, I like to travel, right? You've got Ontario Airport, which is probably one of the best kept secrets. It's a nice small airport. Most flights go through there, and it's super simple. I mean, I've gotten through security in probably 10 minutes. It's not always that way, but the majority of the time. So it's a great airport, but there are other airports. If you're going to travel international, of course, you're going to go to the bigger airports like LAX, but if you're just traveling from state to state, Ontario is definitely the best kept secret. So I'm going to transition into the cons, but before I do, I want to answer that burning question that a lot of you have are just how far are we from some of the bigger cities, some of the urban areas that you'd like to go to. So because I kind of think this is sort of a con and a pro at the same time, and I'll tell you why. Because we're close, but yeah, the con is going to be that, yeah, sometimes that traffic's going to make that trip a little longer than you really like. But really, honestly, we've got, if you want to go to Barstow, into small town Barstow, that's a quick jaunt up the road, about 40 minutes. But if you were looking to go to LA, that's going to probably take you a couple hours. And if you're looking to go to Riverside, Riverside's pretty cool. You can be there in about an hour, hour and 15. You've got San Diego, that's like 2.5 hours. If you want to cruise down to Long Beach, about an hour and a half. So in retrospect, really, we're close to everything. Like I said earlier, we've got the mountains like about 40 minutes away. So they like to say that here up on the high desert, you can go to the beach and the mountains all in one day. I don't know. I like to spend time, so I don't know if I'd do both those in one day, but you certainly could because we are just that close. So again, kind of a pro and a con at the same time. Oh, and did I mention Vegas? If you're a Vegas person, you can be in Vegas in about 2.5 hours. You can hit the river, you can go all those places out that way, all around 2.5 hours. So there's a lot to do up here. Just depends on which direction you go, but we pretty much have everything within our fingertips. So here's that transition into traffic. How long does it take to get places? Well, I just talked a little bit about kind of what that looks like, but the truth of the matter is we are one way up and one way down up on our hill here. So you're gonna hit traffic. It just depends on when you travel. So if you work down the hill, you're going to experience some traffic. I just had to go down to the Ontario airport, and I left around 6:30 in the morning. It took me about an hour and 40 minutes, and that's a little bit longer than it should have, and the reason why is because there was a little bit of an accident on the freeway. So you run into things, right? So traffic is a real thing. I'm not going to lie. That's probably the worst part, and the thing that people complain about the most here living up on the hill is that only one way up and one way down. So we do experience in that. You just have to give yourself that extra time, right? Another thing, of course, is our extreme temperatures. So in the summertime, we're going to hit those triple digits. And in the wintertime, we're going to hit those super lows. So we have extreme heat and extreme cold. So we have a little bit of both. But the magic is in the in-between time, where a lot of people are wearing jackets, we're probably wearing tank tops. So there's things that you just have to get used to in our weather. So jobs is another one of those things people think about, maybe we have a little bit limited job opportunities, and that's probably true. Up here on the hill, there's not as many opportunities. Of course, you can always look at going into maybe working for the city, things like that. So there's some fantastic job opportunities. They're just not as abundant as, say, like an urban city. You can, a lot of people work down the hill, Rancho Cucamonga. Some work up in Barstow where there's no traffic. You just shoot up the hill. So there's just different ways that you can do that. So kind of identifying where you're going to work prior to your move is probably a good idea. Another thing when you think about living in the desert is we've got to conserve our water. We're in a desert, right? So we're not going to have necessarily these lush green lawns because, there's restrictions on just how much watering we can do. But that's why a lot of people do rock landscaping because it conserves water, right? So you just have to be mindful of where we're living. And I think that's kind of true in a lot of parts of California nowadays. But up here on the high desert, it's a little bit extra. We got to conserve our water and be really mindful about that. So that's maybe a con in regards to living up here if you're looking for that lush green yard. And then the last thing, really is kind of like limited transportation. If you don't have a vehicle, it is a little tough. Our roads are pretty set up where you've got the 395 on one side, you got the 15 on the other side, and then there's main roads that go through Bear Valley, Palmdale. That kind of straight. It's pretty much a grid here up in the hill. So it's easy to get around, and you can move really quickly through those roads. But if you don't have a car, that does make it a little bit challenging because our transportation with busing is a little bit limited. So those are pretty much the things that you'd want to, be mindful of. And, like I mentioned, we are a distance away from the main cities. But if you're really into city life, this may not be the spot for you. But just know that you can get there if you're just looking for those experiences every so often. So there you have it. Pros and cons of living in the high desert. I'm Trish Vander Mooren, High Desert Homes, California. I am your high desert ally. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, send me comments, suggestions, things that you want to know about. Until next time.